I do a lot of things, but one thing I would define myself, I would say I'm a change maker. At that point, I remember I was like down, I was like sleeping all the time. And I asked myself, isn't it so much easier to die? So he told me if you need to feel down, feel sad, cry, give yourself 3 days. But after 3 days, snap out from it. Don't see it as a four wall. That four wall was actually me confining myself, me stopping myself, but it was all in my own mindset.
Hi, welcome to Lead Change Hard Way podcast, a podcast where I have a chat with my guests from corporates or individuals to uncover, unpack their stories in life and look at what's underneath the change they go through and what fuels this change for their transformation. Today, I'm joined by this amazing lady by the name of Kim, which I just got to know her 2 years ago when I launched my book, Lead Change Hard Way. At that point of time, I knew her as president of BCWA, Breast Cancer Welfare Association, which she still is today, but she has more identity than that. Well, let's welcome Kim and allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, Lily. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, and hello to everyone. The question of who is Kim? Who am I? I think it's a big question for a lot of us, questioning and wondering who are we actually as a person behind our titles and what we do. So I am a daughter, of course, to my mother. I am a caregiver. I am in corporate. I'm also a parent to my nephew, parent to my wonderful fur kids. I do a lot of things, but one thing I would define myself, I would say I'm a change maker.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. I like the way
mm,
you conclude it. Change maker with all these identities
mm,
that you carry with you. Imagine,
mm.
we talk about change, right?
Yes.
So this was just like a year and a half ago you told me this,
Mhm.
and now
Already
change.
change.
Yes.
Yes.
And not only that, something you mentioned about letting go.
Mhm.
So it's not just a life decision or a critical decision we make and we hold on to it so tightly and we just make sure it happens as per what we dream, yeah? But it does not happen that
Mhm.
way. So I think letting go is certainly something we're going to explore and
Mm.
dive in a little bit
Yep.
more. But knowing you, I can't imagine when I first met you at the cafe,
Mm.
the whole life stories that you told me about the changes that you
Mhm.
have been through since young until now. It's really like I just find no words to describe. It's always like this kind of expression even till today. So well, if I were to ask you this question, if there is a song
Mhm.
about change that best represent this whole life change
Mhm.
of yours, what would that be and why?
Wow, that is a question that I really need to really think, because one song that represents me, let me think. I would say it will be Human Nature by Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow! Now that you
Firstly,
say it, I don't know. I just feel like my okay, go on, please.
okay, one thing is because I like the tune of Human Nature, that song. And second thing is the title itself. It's human nature for us
Uh-huh.
as a human that we can't sit still. And it's human nature that we always want to explore.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I wanted to always explore. I crave for my freedom because from a child onwards, I was always put into a lot of responsibilities.
Okay.
And in this lyrics, there was one phrase that actually says that even the four walls can't stop me.
Yeah.
And I was always looking out as a child. Even
Uh-huh.
until now, I daydream. I look out at the window, but I crave for what's out there.
As you are saying
Yeah.
this, I see your eyes are wet a little.
Yes, yes, because there is so much burden in my life, so much responsibility, even as a child, that you need not ask for that kind of responsibilities, but you are put into that wall. But as a child, even with responsibilities, I look out to the possibilities out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I always wanted change. I always craved for excitement. That's why I say I'm a change maker, because every situation I am, I do not pause there. Even if it's not the most positive part,
Mm-hmm.
I find the best out of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
change the situation myself
Mm-hmm.
and I go to the next stop. So to me, it's human nature that me, myself, I never wanted to pause at one situations. Whether it's good or bad,
Uh-huh.
changes I feel is good for me, myself, and for I think for many people that we do not stay in our comfort zone. Mm,
Wow.
mm,
You were saying since young, you already went through all this and at the same time crave. That's the word you use.
mm,
Crave for freedom.
yes.
What is this freedom for a little girl?
Mm,
what does freedom mean to you then?
mm. You know, when I have this recurring dream, even until now, I always dream that I could fly. All right.
Okay.
It's like in my dream, I could fly and reach anywhere that I want to. And that kind of freedom that when you fly, that that moment that you are so free that you can choose wherever you want to be
Uh-huh.
and whatever you want to see, like a bird. And that is the kind of freedom I crave for, that I could choose where I want to be.
Uh-huh.
Like for now, even now, I have responsibility towards my mom,
Mm-hmm.
towards my nephew. So there are things that I wish to have the freedom to decide, like now, I want to pack my bag, I want to travel, I
Mm-hmm.
want to let go, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't.
Mm-hmm.
So until now, I still have that dreams that I could be a bird and fly in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment in my dream, I feel very happy.
Wow. You know what? As I'm looking at
Mm,
your expression now, your eyes are wet, but your face are glowing. So what a combination
yes.
that I'm seeing.
Mhm. It's very conflicting,
Yes,
right?
that's what I was about to say. It's very
Yes.
conflicting. And it shows.
Yes, and that I think is summarize my life is very conflicting, because me myself, I'm a happy-go-lucky person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see
But
that.
when we are put to responsibilities, whether we are in the family or in career, we have to have certain persona, right? That we have to
Mm-hmm.
be more serious when you are
Mm-hmm.
in certain roles.
Mm-hmm.
Even in my NGO now, when
Mm-hmm.
you carry that position, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be, you can't be laughing like a crazy woman all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
inside me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
a happy-go-lucky person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the yearning for freedom so deeply in you. If you don't mind me asking
Mhm,
this question, because you talk about the four walls, you talk about the
mhm,
struggles, you talk about the needed responsibility that you need to pick it up,
mhm.
and that's the tears, and the freedom part of it is what you yearn for. So if I can kind of like fast forward
Okay.
the little girl's dream,
Mhm.
and now what has changed?
If I could rewind back,
All
okay,
right.
when I was young, I was brought up by a single mother. My
Mm-hmm.
dad passed away when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom makes certain decisions that I questioned, but I understand now. She was at my age. I'm 45 now,
Mm-hmm.
and my father passed away,
Mm-hmm.
right? She has her own dreams too, just like me now. And we got to make certain decisions as individual, as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she made her decision. So I was brought up on my own at home. I was
Mm-hmm.
mostly on my home. I take care of myself. I go to school. I take care of the home, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that girl who has certain dreams, but was never taught about what she is capable of,
Mm.
right? And even if I was capable at certain things, I was never taught of you should persevere,
Mm-hmm.
um, know when you could stop,
Mm-hmm.
but also know what you could achieve.
Mm.
All right. So when I was young, I was a squash player in school,
Mm-hmm.
district squash player. When I was young, I was playing badminton. I was training at the Selangor Badminton Association. I was doing a lot of things that I enjoy, that I excel in,
Mm-hmm.
but I also give up easily.
Ah.
So it was very extreme. Like I set a certain standard for myself. For
Okay.
example, when I play sports, when I compete,
Mhm.
I wanted to win
Okay.
so badly.
All right.
But because I wasn't taught that you know it's okay to lose sometimes, and you
Okay.
practice harder and you continue, you don't give up, right?
All right.
But the moment I lost a game,
Uh-huh.
one and another, I was like, that's it. I'm
Okay.
quitting. So I quit.
Okay.
Okay. And to my mom was, okay, you quit. Okay, never
Uh-huh.
mind.
Uh-huh.
And then when I was I played the organ
All right.
and I went for my exam, I was always aiming for distinction.
All right.
So I remember once that, when you go for your music exam, you were
Uh-huh.
given two pieces that you submit and the examiner choose a piece. So the examiner chose a piece that I wasn't the one that I wanted.
All right.
And I completed it. I came out from the room. I told my mom, I quit.
Okay.
Not knowing that what was the result, but I
Mhm.
was disappointed.
Okay.
So coming back now, as the woman I have become from that little girl,
Mhm.
I have learned myself, right, that set a goal,
Mhm.
set your dream,
All right.
but be flexible,
Ah.
right? It's not that it's not okay to quit, but you need to know your capability and
Uh-huh.
capacity,
Uh-huh.
what you could achieve.
Uh-huh.
And it's very important to surround with people, the right people,
Uh-huh.
to be able to give you that momentum to grow
Mhm.
and to push you forward.
Mhm.
But now I learned, right?
Mhm.
I could excel,
Mhm.
not quit, learn and progress,
Mhm.
but also know when to pause and stop.
Mm. In fact, I personally also have many experiences like that.
Mm.
And many people whom I interview, I work with, kind of like share the same metaphor
Mhm.
of, hey, I set a goal, but hey, there are times, like you say, we are flexible enough to quit. But I also find each of us, when it comes to the decision point
Mm.
of whether to pursue or to quit, we do have different stories, feelings, or things that we tell ourselves whether to move on, continue to move on, or will we quit. So for you, Kim, that moment before you decide, I'm dropping this goal and I'm not pursuing anymore. Usually, what triggers that and what went through your mind?
Mm. So it will be at that junction. What aligns with me, with
Mm.
my life purpose at that point?
Ah.
So when we go through different phases in life, um, we have different goals,
Mm.
different things coming into our life,
Mhm.
right? So things changes.
All
So
right.
I always reflect back at that moment,
All right.
at that juncture,
Uh-huh.
what do I really want?
What do I really want? All right.
Mm. So I make that decision. Of course, it's a calculated decision because every decision we make, there will
Uh-huh.
be consequences, there will be
Uh-huh.
different responsibilities and impact that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that all in and I make a decision. I do not stay on the fence. I am able to make decision, fast decision, I would say,
All right.
but I calculate my decisions.
I see,
Mm.
I see. So it's kind of like having a light or a purpose there. But what you do, there are many ways of
Mhm.
moving towards that goal.
Correct.
So it is actually still okay to let go of this,
Yes.
but we choose other things. But the direction does not change. Is that
Yes.
what you're
You are absolutely right because to go towards a goal, there are different routes, right? So if you find that route A doesn't work for us, we can always switch to route B, but the end goal is still the same. For example, when I was young, my purpose was to be in the NGO, to do good. I don't know how to move towards that,
Ah.
right? I even thought when I was young, I wanted to do missionary work. It was always about for the society,
Mm-hmm.
for animals' rights or things like that. I always knew I wanted to do that since I was young.
Mm.
So I guess the life part opened up for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's for me to choose the different routes for me to achieve what I wanted to achieve.
I see. I'm just curious. Was there any point or any decision that you find, oh, this is the hardest one that I gotta choose?
Mhm.
because maybe I gotta let go of something
Mm.
before I move on? Was that moment in your life like that that is so hard to make that decision?
There is. If I recall back and think back, I think the hardest moment in my life and decision to make was, I have to say, at pandemic when I was diagnosed with cancer. I was without a career, and my brother passed away. So immediately at the same time, without a job, I got to be the sole caregiver for my mother
Mm-hmm.
and also the guardian for my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in life, is at the juncture that I was very stuck. Stuck because financially it was impacted, and I was given the responsibility in my life that was super tough. I have to have my mom in home care. Okay, it wasn't an easy decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
I have to take care of my nephew, take the responsibility as a guardian. It's like a parent. It's a
Yeah.
big responsibility when I never planned this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to make a decision to sell our assets. And
Mm.
that wasn't an easy decision to make where we got to sell our family home,
Mm.
especially when you are going through your diagnosis and everything. But at that point, it was so difficult because I couldn't think straight. But you have to make a decision because
Yeah.
so many life impacted and you need the money.
Mm.
But I made that decision without even thinking too much. Within a day, I calculated everything I need to calculate. I asked my mom, "Are you willing to let go?" She said yes. So one thing good is my mom is also a decision maker. No sitting on the fence. She said, "Sell." So I say, "Sell." Okay. So when decision is made, that is so much easier. So I just need to structure everything, compartmentalize everything,
Mm-hmm.
and just move forward. It was the toughest decision I had to make, have to make, because it involves so many parties.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Mm,
Not only you,
mm,
now your mother, your
mm.
nephew, and I believe that's your only brother.
Yes,
And it's like everything now back on you
mm,
and many lives.
correct. And you know, when you sell your family home, right, you can't say tomorrow, right, I want it back, right?
Oh,
It's a decision, I think, for many of us, I think many Asians. It's a family home that we grew up in. It's a family home that my mom was very proud to purchase.
mm-hmm,
So it means a lot. But I think my mom made it so much easier for me
mm-hmm.
that she knows that that situation, it's time to let go. And that helped me so much that she said yes, and I said yes. And then we proceeded.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that, like you said earlier, the letting go
Mm,
is so difficult, but once we made up our mind,
mm-hmm,
things become clearer
mm-hmm.
and the path open, and it's so much easier to move forward.
I see something in you, which
Mhm.
is in your mom too. The
Sometimes it's
letting,
stubborn, huh?
yeah, okay, of course, not stubborn, but the ability to let go.
Mm,
Isn't the ability? I don't know. I use this word. I mean, I find, I don't know whether because this experience has passed, so the way you relate it uh, seem, seems to me simple now,
mhm,
but I don't think it was at the
mhm.
decision point then for you all to do this. So I think, of course, one of the helping factors to me is your mom, same like you lah.
Yeah, they say
Yeah.
yes, so go. So that was yes, it helps a lot. But
Uh-huh.
you're right. It sounds easy now, like, oh, 1, 2, 3, you got it
Yes,
done.
exactly.
Yeah, I wish that it was that easy. But like I mentioned, if we could make decisions and we are able to be a decision maker,
All right.
it's so much easier because the first step is done. Then the process is not easy because it was pandemic.
Mm,
Even selling a home, it wasn't easy.
mm-hmm,
Buyers were very limited.
mm-hmm.
Viewing home was also not easy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
coupled with, I was going through my treatment.
Exactly. So
All right.
I was about to add that pressure and burden to you. It's like with financial struggles that you have to go through, you have to take care of them
Mhm.
as a caregiver. At the same time, you need to go through all these
Mm.
treatments. It's like, I just don't know how to describe this.
Okay, you imagine, right? You're going through treatments. If you're sin, people who go through treatment, we calculate when we will be okay. So after a few days of chemotherapy, I already know I'll feel better. That's when I plan. I told the agent, let's go and view home. Please bring a few buyers. Then I remember at the time I was without hair. So yeah, looking a bit sick, but not too sick, still the happy me. And people will be wondering, why are you in scarf? And you
Mhm,
look a bit pale.
mhm,
And yeah, so that was how I was. And then I meet agents and buyers and show them the house. Yeah, I go and manage, the legal part.
mhm.
Everything else, visit my mom at the home care, try to take my nephew out, ensure everyone is okay, managing myself. Yeah, it sounds like a song now, but yeah, it wasn't easy. But I guess at that point, I was so focused in completing the task.
Okay.
I feel like it was like I putting myself like I was working, and this was a project.
KPI.
Yes, it was my, you are absolutely right. It was my KPI to complete every single task and excel in it. So I just move like that.
Wow.
Mm,
If I were to put my fingers of those very intense struggle you went
mm,
through that time, you were diagnosed with breast cancer. You needed to go through treatment, and you need to take care of your mom. You need to be the guardian for your nephew. You need to mourn for the loss of your brother,
and no
and
income.
no income.
Mm,
Pandemic, some more. We
yes.
all can't go out. Restricted movement,
Mm.
and I don't know. If I were to go on, I think I have not enough. I have insufficient fingers to count. With all this, I don't know. I just have this question in my mind. Is it in the family that passed down from your mom? Is in the DNA that you all work like that? Or is it something that, or is it something that you learn through the experiences that you shared with me just now?
Mm.
Or what was helpful at that point of time? Did you have any resource to help you? What What makes it easier for you? That's what I'm trying to say.
First thing, I would summarize it. I'm very blessed.
All right.
Of course, it's a combination of my parents' genes. My mom is like a tiger.
Oh, that's a blessing, is it?
It's a blessing when
A
I grow
tiger
up.
mom is a blessing. Okay, let me switch my mind
Ah.
and think about that.
So for
Okay.
a lot of viewers out there, sometimes when you're young, you feel like your tiger mom, right, is wow, very difficult. But when I grow up now, when I think back,
All right.
I'm very blessed to have her as a tiger mom and very structured. It
Mm.
taught me a lot when I was young. And I have this balance of my father. My father is like a sunshine, happy to go
Oh,
lucky one.
okay.
So I got the blessing of both DNA. So I'm more
Oh.
neutral. Ooh. So yes, I'm lucky in that way. So everything that I learned from when I was young at work, it helped me a lot. And I'm very blessed because I have very good people surrounding me.
Ah.
So all these people that surrounded me helped me in different ways. Like for example, when I can't drive, I need someone to drive me.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
call a
yeah.
good friend. They will always be there. When I did want to see anyone, and it was pandemic, I can't see anyone actually, they would send food to me.
Mm.
Food, gift, books, anything to keep me, sane. Because maybe they know that I might be a bit insane if I stay quiet for too long. So all this combination push me forward. That's why I always say that even though whatever I went through, I'm very
Mhm.
blessed. And I really feel my training in corporate helped me a lot.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Because
Setting the KPI on.
setting the KPI is one thing, but the drill when we work in corporate in different field, it helps us to be strong. Strong in the sense that if you could actually handle a 24 hours event without sleep, you have that stamina. Strong that you go to drill in your work with different people, meet different people, that you could manage different people in your life and you go through different situations too. And like you say, KPI too is very important.
Wow. At that point of time, that very intense moment during the pandemic and when you had to go through all this, because just now you also mentioned about, hey, I quit. Have you thought of quitting?
Well, very deep question. Yes. The thing is, a lot of people think that, oh, Kim, you're always so happy. Wow, you're already where you want to be. Everything is so positive. But the truth is, every one of us has a story behind that the moment that we are down at the bottom and we wanted to quit. I remember clearly the moment that I wanted to quit was when I found out after my brother passed away. It was never about not having a job, cancer, or anything like this. This I could handle. But when my brother passed away, everything just seems to fall apart mentally because for a long time, I wasn't in communication with my brother. We had a tiff, but I never said to get to have a conversation with him before he passed. I never got to see him.
Mm.
And even for the funeral, I could only attend half an hour
Mm.
because my white blood cell was very low that time.
Mm. Mm.
So I got to get clearance from my doctor for me to even attend the funeral.
Mm.
At that point, I remember I was like down. I was like sleeping all the time. And I asked myself, isn't it so much easier to die? Really?
Yeah.
So
That's
much
so
easier
true.
because when I die, I don't need to handle this. And because I bought insurance and everything I planned in my own life is so structured, they could survive. And someone else will clean the mess, but
Sounds
not
like
me.
a plan, isn't it? At that
Yes,
point of time.
it's so easy. All I need to do is just continue to sleep, not eat, maybe stop my treatment. That's it. I don't need to handle all this because the burden on the shoulder was so heavy. Yes, at that point, I found out that when I was driving, I
Mhm.
could remember clearly, I was at Mid Valley parking lot.
All right.
I was in the car. I looked at the wall. I
Mhm.
wanted to drive straight to the wall. And that stopped me. That
Oh.
woke me up like, hey, what are you actually thinking? This is not right.
Mhm.
And that's when I spoke up about this thing in my mind. At that time, my ex-partner told me, I told him, I should have this thought. Then he told me that, whatever you're feeling now, give yourself 3 days because you always want to act tough, show that you're tough, you could handle everything. Even cry also, I limit my crying. So he told me if you need to feel down, feel sad, cry, give yourself 3 days. But after 3 days, snap out from it.
I don't know. I now my turn to have tears
Mm.
in my eyes. It sounds like, to me, if you don't mind me,
Mm.
it could be my own perspective.
Mm.
It sounds like you are very driven by KPI. The moment a
Mm.
3 days is set, I take it up
Yeah.
and let's do it.
Yeah. Yes, you read me correctly. I'm like that. I need to have a goal, a challenge. The moment that I sit still, I feel lost. And what triggered me to actually reflect myself was I took my mom to see a psychiatrist because she was having depression too. And the doctor, instead of looking at my mom, looked at me
Okay.
and asked me, Kim, are you okay? Do you need to talk and speak to someone? So I was like, why? She said, you are going through a lot, and I could see that I don't think you are okay.
Mm.
Maybe you need to speak out and speak to someone. And that gave me a second reflection that, I need to pause. I need to let myself grieve, digest all my emotions, which I block it out, right? Because the time frame was running so fast that there are so many things I need to complete. I never let myself breathe or digest or even understand what was I actually going through. So when I sat down and let myself go through my emotions, grief, and all this that I'm going through, wow, it was really a lot. It was like suddenly a bomb, like, what is this? That's when I felt that, I wanted to give up. Mm.
Thank you for sharing
Mm.
this.
Most welcome. It's a story that took me a long time to wanted to tell and speak up about, because it's so much easier to tell people about your triumph, your triumph, the good things, because we all want people to see us in a certain way. But now, after years, I want people to know, like, what was your first question? Who am I? Right? And what I've went through, and this story, I hope that I could, you know, bring another person this emotion that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah. Iro, I think you speak to more breast cancer
Mhm,
patients and more breast cancer survivors than me. And you talk about this identity thing, right?
mm,
I'm a little bit speechless now simply because um, when we speak to a cancer survivor or a cancer patient, that's how they describe themselves as an identity. But as you are talking about these experiences of yours at that time during
mhm,
the pandemic, does everything that point to that period of time, who were you then? I think more than
mm,
just a breast cancer patient. If there is one line, one word, at that point of time you gave yourself an identity, what were what were you having in your mind?
At that point during pandemic,
Yeah.
the first identity I gave myself was a survivor, because I survived through all this surviving. The second thing, I felt that my identity was really a change maker,
Mm.
because I could change my life, and my decision could change life around a lot of people around me. And I realized from young and until now and in the future, that is what I want to be, making a difference, not only for myself, but for a bigger purpose. That's why I said from young, my aim, my goal was to be in NGO and to contribute to society. And that is where I am now. And that is where I want to be to every phase of my life. I notice it's the same thing that I go back to.
Yes, I was about
Mm,
to share that trend I see
mm,
from how you shared about your upbringing, then to this episode of your life where life started to crack badly. Yeah. And it's kind of like many things happen. And then the most pointy one, intense one is this episode.
mm,
And it kind of give a really a big knock about this change maker identity that you carried with you since
mm.
young.
Correct.
So what happened for this change maker called Kim
Mhm,
when things were a little bit more settled down and you finish your treatment
mm.
and your mom, your nephew kind of like back on some routine tracks, right? I personally find the picking up
Mm.
phase is again can be another very challenging one because that phase of post trauma,
Mhm.
the first year, second year,
Correct.
was also a moment that anyone can just quit
Mm.
and back to where they were.
You,
So
you,
share
you,
with us a little bit more.
you are definitely right. It happened to me and so many people. When we go through life changes, it's either you step out from it,
Mhm.
you create yourself and back to society, or you fall back,
Yeah.
right? No matter whether we are sick, cancer, or anything that very big things changes in our life. So for me, as before I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was doing my master's. So I paused when I was diagnosed. Okay. Actually, I paused because I had to take accounting exam, which I wasn't confident. So I paused. If not, maybe I would continue. So I paused. And the moment I completed my treatment, I went straight back to complete my MBA. And I had something to focus. And I still wanted distinction. Okay.
Same pattern, huh?
Same pattern. It never changed. And I guess that was what made me continue to have that drive. So I completed, I had my distinction, thankfully. So I was happy. So I have continuous goal. So I set my goal and I go one by one. And I was very fortunate that after a while, my headhunter friend actually called me and say, no, time to go back to work. I said, what? Hey, I just completed my treatment. I want to chill. No, the corporate life needs you. It's time to go back to work. And I was like, oh, so fast. Can I go for interview? Okay. I went for my interview. I got the job and I started straight. But, it was a good job and everything. But I realized one thing. My heart, my mind, my body wasn't aligned. Right? Because like what you mentioned, when we go through big changes in life, we have to digest first. Pause and digest.
You're right.
I did not have the time to pause and digest. I jumped straight into job. So I realized when I was working, I had a lot of frustration. So much frustration that I find problems. I can't sit still. I find problems. I get agitated, easily angry, and I left.
A lot of emotion trapped inside, right? Unprocessed.
So I left that job, and then I had time to digest. And thankfully, I had BCWA. So what I like about volunteering at BCWA is because it's like running a corporate structure too. Governance, a lot of partnerships, a lot of people involved. I like that. But because I'm volunteering, I don't feel that because I'm not taking any income, I don't feel that how you say that owing, that feeling. Okay, so when after I completed my treatment, I started my role already, and that also helped me a lot. It wasn't easy. Everyone actually thought that you step into president role, wow, all shiny and everything so good. Wow, it wasn't easy at all. Imagine you have no experience in NGO. You jump into an NGO. You have to understand the entire NGO structure about the association, everything, and a new scope of people that you don't know. And
entirely new.
Entirely new doctors, healthcare. I question myself, what am I doing there actually? What can I contribute? But because the exco team and people surrounding me was very supportive, although I don't really know them that time, but because of the trust they gave into me, I got KPI again.
Yeah, now you read your pattern too.
Yeah. I started to learn. I learned fast. I involved myself. I put really more than 100% of my heart into it. And then, I started to continue to understand and try from there. But it wasn't easy at the start. There were so many questions, just like when you work, people question you. Who are you? Who are you to be in that position? Right? Maybe there are so many qualified people out there, but who are you?
Identity again, right?
Right.
And I believe this identity is a bit difficult for you to, I don't know, at this point of time, I sense you can associate with this identity quite well. But it is the external people
who don't know you.
Yeah, who don't know you, who can't validate this identity of yours. There's this gap here where kind of put some tension in this role of yours.
Correct. So I accepted it. I could quit. Quitting is so easy, right?
Yes, exactly.
Just
I was about to say that.
right?
And then there are so many NGOs. Why must it be this, right?
Correct. But because I believe in the cause actually helped me when I was diagnosed. And I strongly believe in the cause. That's why I never give up. Yeah, because I strongly believe in what the cause was doing and I could contribute. My voice could contribute, my experience could contribute as a survivor from my corporate experience. I could bring different perspective in. That's why I stayed on. Yeah. So this is one learning. that I see myself, the trend,
Mm.
and also now
Mm-hmm.
when I quit and why I do not quit.
Another
Ah,
level up already, huh?
yeah, a bit smarter and wiser now.
Yeah, I like that. You're saying another level up, which is why am I quitting and then why am I not?
Mm,
Yeah, that is a stronger why, layering your action of quitting and not, right?
yes,
Earlier on was okay, struggle come,
and just quit
go
lor.
quit law,
Oh,
right? It's a bit like driven by
emotions.
emotions.
Mm.
So now there's another layer of why.
Yeah, so now I balance my emotions and logic and come to a decision that is a accountable, calculated decision. Mm.
Yeah, because I kind of like follow the track of your transformation, yeah,
Mm.
since you were young and now, and then the biggest challenge in your life and where you are now. I also sense that, hey, your identity is kind of like sharpened now. And like you said, the purpose, the goal does not change, but the direction is still the same.
Mm.
I see where you are now is before the pandemic, before the breast cancer,
Mm-hmm.
you were very much building brands for other people.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And there was some adjustment during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. And now, post that breast cancer event, you are slowly rising. And I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and having an identity or brand for yourself.
You're absolutely correct. So all my experiences throughout my life, throughout my career, I've been building for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And this has sharpened my skill.
Mm.
It allowed me like a playground, if I
Mm-hmm.
could put it.
Mm-hmm.
Every company that I work with
Mm-hmm.
is very vibrant.
Ah.
It's very vibrant that it gave me the opportunity to learn different field. If you actually look at my career, I'm one person that jumped through different field,
Oh yes, oh
right?
yes. I
People will
was kind
say
of like,
that,
wow, beat me, man. I had 8 jobs. Wow, I'm started to count when I
yeah.
look at your LinkedIn profile.
And I go through different departments, and some people say, why do you do that? Because I'm always curious. Curious in the sense that I feel that if I go through different departments, I could have a helicopter view,
Mm.
that I could make a better judgment, that I
Mm.
understand different departments, what they are doing.
Mm-mm.
So that was also my identity as a change maker.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to make a change,
Mm-hmm.
I need to understand have different skill sets, understand from different point of view, different eye view.
Mm-hmm.
And all these years after having all this,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm more confident that
Mm.
I have my own voice,
Mm.
my own way,
Mm.
that I do not need to be a follower,
Mm-hmm.
and I could create my own name as
Mm.
Kim, as a
Mm.
voice
Mm-hmm.
to connect dots
Mm-hmm.
to achieve the goal that I want to achieve. That is to contribute back to society.
I just love that
Mm.
smile on your face.
Everyone actually say that when I say that
Your
I want
eyes
to do this,
blink
yeah, I'm
and your
very
face
passionate
glow.
about that because like when one of the job I was in a few years ago was in recruitment.
Mm.
And I was very, very happy in that job
Mm-hmm.
because I could connect the dots from people from different walks of life
Mm-hmm.
to come into this career because I always believe how good you are, but you put the person at the wrong role, it will be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing that I want to do now
Mm-hmm.
to create this ecosystem to
Mm-hmm.
put different connections,
Mm-hmm.
stakeholders to
Mm-hmm.
come in together with the right aim
Mm-hmm.
to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And when they contribute, I really want them to understand what difference could it make. For example, in corporate, many of us went through different life
Yeah.
stages. How to incorporate this team back to the company that they feel comfortable and able to thrive at work.
Mm.
Or people who went jobless,
Mm-hmm.
but you've forgotten about them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
Mm-hmm.
have this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
How to put that back to the ecosystem in different ways.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice. In fact, what is it? Because many people told me that, hey, I'm a change maker. I want to make a change. What about you? what is this? What do I say that it's like I don't, even for me as well.
Mhm.
I wish to change, make a change and impact people's life. But what I went through as a person is, like you say just now, you use the word of finding your voice. I find the process of finding your voice is a bit challenging
Mm.
because sometimes the voice is here. You wish to speak up, but you were a bit concerned of
Mm.
how people see you. And then sometimes when you speak a little bit too loud already, then hey, is this what I want?
Mhm.
I don't. These are just two examples, but there are more instances that for I find there are many reasons for a change maker to find. There are many ways for the change maker to find their voice. So what about you, Kim?
Mhm.
What are the things that you have to accept yourself more that make you allow this voice to be accepted and be heard by
Mm.
others?
I think first thing is finally I feel more comfortable with myself. I accepted myself that I am not perfect.
Ah,
Um, Many might know and many might not know. I was born with MRKH, right? I was born without a womb, a uterus. And throughout my life, I feel totally incomplete. When I was young, I questioned myself, am I even a female?
mm,
I went through a test to check my chromosome,
mm,
and I'm a female. And I have never met someone with the same MRKHs. I have until a few years ago when I met the founder, Wani, the president of MRKH. I cried when I met her. Imagine at my 40s, that was the first time I met someone with the same situation. And I think from that onwards, I learned to accept myself that I am complete as I am. This
I like
is
that. I'm
me.
complete as I am.
This is me. I don't need to be any different or any same like another person. I don't need to compare. I have a womb, I don't have a womb. I am complete. I may not be smarter by many people. I may not be prettier by many, but it is okay. It is okay because I believe that God created us as we are. But to find that, to accept ourselves is very difficult. And I learned that throughout the years. Throughout the years, throughout the learning, hardship, good things, and everything, that I am complete as I am. And I think because of this, I have the voice to speak up. It's only after I accepted myself because when I speak like I'm speaking now, I become less conscious. Because last time I would be like what you mentioned, am I speaking correctly? Is my pronunciation correct? Do I look okay? Whatever note. But now I speak as I speak. It comes from my heart. And that to me is the most important.
So beautiful.
Thank you. Mhm.
Yeah. I know. When you talk about MRK, she said it's another kind of like a things that I cannot imagine. Uh, I just find your life is full of surprises.
And that's the fun of life, right?
Exactly. I think it's like you can really write don't know how many episodes about whatever it is. Now you're talking about MRKH and things like that. It's like I don't know, in my mind, you know what came through just now? I said, yo, in Cantonese, like they go, 貓有九條命. Cats has got
Nine
cats have got
lives.
9 lives. And it's like, oh, okay. And how many you have? That kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
and then this moment you find, hey, I'm complete.
Yes. And I find that life is so beautiful and so precious. Really. It's like I'm not sure if you know, I nearly died of anaphylaxis attack while I was jogging. And when I reached the hospital.
Are there more you're gonna tell me? Come on, cat, tell me now.
Okay. So I had anaphylaxis, right? It was a very rare case that you have anaphylaxis when you are jogging. Okay. So cut it short. So when I end up in the hospital, I woke up, I was laughing.
Okay.
And the doctor asked, you can still laugh. Do you know that you were 5 minutes away from death? Then I told him, I'm laughing because finally I can breathe. So that is how I see life. even though I
Uh-huh.
was 5 minutes away from them. But the moment I wake up, I could find that what I was missing, that time was breathing. I was very happy and I am contented that way.
Wow.
So I am a person that, yes, I can be extreme, that I can get sad, but I also jump up and I could easily turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
One of the thing that I learned, a course that I went was brain switch. I could switch my brain. Yeah. So that was easier for me to overcome obstacles.
Mm.
I guess that is a gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Mm.
such a precious gift, I must say.
So I must cherish it very well and do more good things.
Oh yes,
Mm.
oh yes. And I think with this identity or brand that you are creating for yourself, the change maker, it it just fits you so well.
Thank you.
There are no cats in the world other than you.
No, I
that
have
has got
3
stories like
cats
this.
and many cats. They have many stories too.
Well, one more question I'm going to ask for this change maker brand of yours or identity
Mhm.
of yours. I don't know. I find every time, this could be my own metaphor. I find every time when we change our identity to be closer to who we are, apart from using cat as a metaphor of Gao Tiu Meng,
Mhm.
it's also like a snake where we shred our
Our
skin.
skin.
Something we need to kind of like let
Let
go
go.
of. Yeah. What I'm hearing your story as of now, well, of course, young, you had you in the you long for freedom,
Mhm.
and then during the pandemic, when you were diagnosed with breast cancer, you need to let go of the house, and then need
Mm.
to and then after that, you kind of like let go of, I don't know, maybe post breast cancer, you trying to let go of
My previous identity.
your previous
Mhm.
identity, and now where you are, what are the things that you really, really have let go of to be who you are now?
Mm.
And moving forward to be even more authentic and true to yourself, what are other things that you think you are ready to let go of?
Mm. I think I'm ready to let go of before this I was like a brick.
Break.
Brick. If
All
I
right.
could put it in a picture.
All right.
Everything must be brick built, structured,
Ah.
right? Because you're brought up like that, and also society expect you to be like that certain ways. So I've learned to let go of being a brick
Mm-hmm.
and be more like a water and
Mm.
see where it flows. Right? So if there is, for example, another impact tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
I think I will be more chill now.
Mm.
Yeah, I will just go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And but my goal is the same, but I'll do things differently. Not things take things too tight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Things that are nitty-gritty, just let it go. Yeah, don't need to have, hatred, all this discomfort of the past. Just let it go. And I focus on what is important now
Mm-hmm.
and all the good things, even though it was bad,
Mm-hmm.
but I focus on the good,
Yeah.
right?
Nice.
And I think that will really help me to what I'm doing now
Mm-hmm.
to empower more women, to empower more people in
Mm-hmm.
general,
Mm-hmm.
to make a change in yourself, even if it's one step a day.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm.
呢條貓行咗好多路。I mean, what I'm trying to say is this cat has walked and journeyed so
I think
far.
like you get the example of a cat is so pretty because cats they have so many colors also, right? So it's like different cats.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. My final
Mm.
question, Kim, is now where you are now for Kim as a change maker, talking to the younger self of you. Remember, you had this dream of
Mm.
flying, that you are kept in the four walls, you yearn for freedom
Mhm.
and you yearn to fly. So if there is something that you're going to advise this little Kim when
Mhm.
she was at that age now,
Mm.
what would you like to tell that Kim, the younger version of Kim?
Don't see it as a four wall.
I love
Because
that.
yeah, because that four wall was actually me confining myself, me stopping myself, but it was all in my own mindset.
Wow.
Yeah, because I told myself it was a wall, but I could have told myself it's all four windows, right?
Uh,
So it's our own mindset that we confine ourselves. So that is the thing I would tell myself, that you have the freedom from the start. But maybe I decided that it was easier to blame, right? So if I was my younger self, I would just keep smiling and looking out the window and see whatever opportunities and decide what is good for myself, because no one was stopping me. Every decision we make, we have a choice.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'm so glad and feel so good hearing all this, because I sense throughout the journey, you have now redefined this word called freedom.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Freedom, we always feel that, wow, it goes our way to what we want. But freedom is in our mindset. If I could be happy having a dream of flying around the world, that's also freedom for me, a freedom of choice of what I want to dream.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Kim,
much.
for joining me today. And well, thank you very much for watching Lead Change Hard Way podcast. Well, if you like the episode that we have prepared to you for you, and please remember to subscribe to our channel. And thank you very much for watching. And well, of course, this podcast is actually led by the book which I published 2 years ago called Lead Change Hard Way. It can be found on MPH TRX, or online. You can find it on Amazon or Inspiring Hub online site. So please head on there to get a copy for yourself, or if not, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.